Happy New Year, everyone. I'm excited to have another year of sharing God's Word with you and building up your faith for godly living. Have you noticed that our world is often something that follows the golden rule? You know what I mean, don't you? The golden rule, the joke type of golden rule. Whoever has the most gold gets to make all the rules. Therefore, when we look into our world, we see just a non-stop shoving match, a non-stop game of people pushing around, trying to get as much gold as possible so that they then can make all the rules, or at least more than they used to be able to make. People are grabbing gold, they're pushing others around and down, trampling them, clenching what they have, not being willing to give an inch. That's what makes Christmas and this year, as we think about Christmas and the life of Christ, all the more bewildering. Because Jesus had all the gold. And as God, he got to make all the rules. And yet when he came from heaven to earth, perfect glory to lowly planet, he chose dusty, not dazzling. He chose simple, not glorious. He chose shepherds to come visit him and peasants as his parents, not nobles. He even had the angels come on Christmas night, filling the sky with song, but that said, "Go back to heaven, fellas," rather than having them follow him around all of his life. Jesus gave up everything, even becoming obedient to a cross. He did not consider being true God something to be used to his own advantage, but instead, as true God became also true man, he became the greatest servant, because all that consumed Jesus was looking out for your advantage, looking out for my advantage. What's best for us? That's what I want to do. That's how I want to roll. Those are the needs I want to fill. That's what Jesus thought about, with tremendous compassion that simply knows no boundary. Listen to these tremendous verses describing the humble attitude, the service of God for us from Philippians chapter 2. Being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself, that is Jesus, by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Therefore, God exalted him to the highest place and gave him the name that is above every name. Jesus humbled himself even to the depth of being obedient to the cross, so that one day he would be exalted by God for completing his mission of saving sinners from their sins, and we would be exalted with him. When we center our lives on Christ, we stop that golden rule thing. We stop trying to push people around so that we can have more gold and make more rules. Instead, we look to follow Christ's example and serve others as Jesus has served us. We look at Jesus and think, I'm willing to give up some of the me time I would otherwise have in order to spend time listening to someone in need, even if that time listening to someone in need is them unloading all their problems when they think that you are the biggest problem they have. We, though, look at Jesus and think, he didn't run away from me when I had a lot of problems, and we go through that listening and the ability to give people time so that we then are able to help them be Christ-centered in the end. What about when you get some money in your hands and have the opportunity for more? Do you sprint after it, grabbing more, as much as you possibly can and letting that drive your life? Or do you take money as it comes, enjoy it while it's there, spend it and save it with a generous heart, giving to others rather than always seeking to get and clench and hold and grab? Because you know that when you give to the work of the Lord in particular, you're able to help others to be Christ-centered as you yourself are Christ-centered. What about conflict resolution? It's difficult to say I'm wrong and I'm sorry, and yet when we stare at Christ and see his perfection and how well he treated us even when we were wrong and maybe not even sorry, that fills us with humble hearts, that causes us to lower our pride and say sincerely, I'm wrong, I'm sorry, instead of deflecting or blaming or pushing others to the side while we are doing wrong. It also helps us to, instead of always seeking revenge and desiring revenge with all that we have, to forgive, to let go, and let God deal with the issue if it must be dealt with. What an opportunity we have to think about Jesus and the gap that he traveled from perfect heaven to lowly earth, even to the cross. And then, as we stay Christ-centered, to always have a humble heart that lowers our own pride and looks to serve him in every way with all that we have. What an opportunity you have to do that. What an opportunity you have to stay Christ-centered and help others to be the same.